Okay, so I have a confession.
Ooh.
I got kind of lost down a Reddit rabbit hole,
All right.
but it was all in the name of science. I swear. Our psychology, what a place.
Oh, yeah.
Some serious research on there, but also some really fascinating, attention-grabbing stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's our deep dive today.
Okay.
Not the usual headlines, but the surprising stuff I found. Scrolling.
Interesting.
Relationships, smartphones, even a little about dolphins, believe it or not.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we start?
Well, since everyone loves dolphins, right?
Right.
This study popped up about how bottlenose dolphins actually, smile when they're playing.
Yeah,
Yeah, not just us humans getting our goofy grin on when we're having fun.
it's true.
It's like we're not so special after all.
That's true. Well, and this finding it actually, it kind of speaks to a broader trend in research right now about animal emotions
You could see that.
and how they express them.
Yeah.
For a long time, we kind of assumed certain complex emotions, especially like smiling and things like that, were uniquely human.
Yeah.
But more and more studies like this are challenging that,
Yeah.
making us really reconsider what we thought we knew about the animal kingdom.
That's wild. What else don't we know? Right?
Exactly. There's so much more to discover.
So much more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, speaking of fascinating discoveries,
Okay.
let's bring it back to us humans for a second.
Okay.
Maybe get a little introspective in the process here.
Oh.
Another study, this one, it was talking about how men might actually be feeling more of that social disconnect, because of smartphones
Really?
than women.
Huh.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Interesting. I mean, especially in our hyper-connected world, right?
Right.
Like constantly plugged in, scrolling, liking, commenting. But are we really connecting?
And that's the thing. On the surface, it seems like everybody's more connected than ever.
Right, exactly.
But this study's saying, no, actually, all that connectivity might be making people feel more isolated.
Especially for men.
Yeah.
It seems like,
It really makes you think, next time you pick up your phone,
right, is that quick scroll?
is it actually taking you further away from a genuine connection?
That's a good question.
And speaking of kind of social dynamics and technology,
Yeah.
this next one gets even more kind of complex and nuanced.
Okay.
So apparently, women gamers who identify as feminists
Uh-huh.
or who are really actively promoting gender equality,
Right.
they often face more blame when they actually experience sexism in online games.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really interesting because, that finding really highlights the nuances of social justice, right?
It does.
And how, challenging those norms can sometimes lead to, and this is the crazy part, a backlash
Yeah.
that you don't expect.
Yeah.
Now, crucial point here.
Okay.
This research is not saying that the sexism is justified in any way.
No.
Right. It's not about blaming the victim here at all.
No, not at all.
This is about understanding how complex these interactions can be and recognizing that speaking up against prejudice, while essential,
Yeah.
it can disrupt things. It disrupts the status quo.
Greatly.
And that can lead to pushback, even from people that you might think are on your side.
Wow. It's such a difficult thing to navigate, right?
Totally.
You want to speak up against injustice, but then is it always going to lead to positive change?
Yeah.
Or are there actually situations where it might backfire
Yeah.
and then make certain groups feel even more unheard?
It's tough, for sure.
Yeah,
It's a tough one, for sure. Makes you think.
it really does.
Mm-hmm.
And, speaking of tough topics,
Yeah.
this next segment, it kind of takes us from online interactions to those bigger societal expectations
Okay.
and how all that can have a huge impact on people.
It's true. And sometimes, the most impactful psych research, it's not just about how we act individually, but how those actions are shaped by, the systems around us.
Totally. We're not just these isolated beings, right?
Exactly.
And this Reddit find, this is a perfect example.
Okay.
There's research suggesting that men in, super patriarchal societies,
Right.
they might actually be less likely to report sexual assault.
Oh, wow. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really concerning. And I think what this research does is it sheds light on how, these cultural norms around masculinity,
Totally.
they really intersect with trauma responses.
Right, how you're supposed to react as a man.
Exactly. Think about it. In
Yeah.
so many societies,
Yeah.
men are basically raised to be strong, stoic, in control.
Right. Show no weakness.
Right. So admitting vulnerability,
Especially in, a situation like that.
especially related to sexual assault, it clashes
Big time.
with those expectations that are just so deeply ingrained.
It's almost like you can't win, right?
Right.
Because if you do speak up,
Yeah.
you're going against what everyone's expecting of you.
Exactly.
It's so sad.
It is. It's heartbreaking. And it really highlights why
Yeah.
we need greater awareness and support for male victims.
Absolutely.
Because this isn't just a women's issue, right?
No, not at all.
This is about recognizing that societal expectations, they can have very real consequences for everybody.
It's true. It's true. And this next finding, this one really made me step back for a minute.
Okay.
It's about kind of the lasting impact of history.
Yeah.
Did you realize there's actually research suggesting that descendants of slaveholders in Congress,
Wow.
they have a way higher net worth
Very.
than other members?
Like significantly higher.
Yeah, like almost $4 million higher on average.
That's a huge difference.
I know, right?
It's a sensitive subject, but it's an important one to examine.
It is.
Now, important to be clear here.
Yeah.
This study is not about pointing fingers or anything like that.
No.
It's about taking the data we have
Right.
and trying to understand, like, quantify the real economic effects
Of things that happened so long ago.
of historical injustices.
Yeah, because it's like we say, like, oh, slavery, that was so long ago.
Right, but the impact,
It still affects things.
it echoes, yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, what other echoes are still bouncing around out there, you know?
Oh, it really does. It makes you think. And it kind of makes the case for why we need psychology,
To, like, help us understand all this.
Exactly, to shed light on these things.
Because if we don't even know,
Yeah,
how do we even begin to fix it?
exactly. That's the question, isn't it?
It is. And speaking of psychology, I think it's time for, like, a rapid-fire round.
Ooh, okay.
Just, like, a bunch of intriguing psych nuggets.
Love it. Hit me with it.
Okay, so get ready for this one. There's research saying gun-free zones, they're actually correlated with fewer mass shootings.
Really? That's so interesting because you always hear,
You hear the opposite?
yeah, you'd think it'd be the other way around, but it shows you.
It sounds right.
Exactly. Gotta look at the evidence.
Okay, next one up. People who, like, avoid negative emotions, they might not be as likely to, fully grasp systemic racism.
It's like if you're not willing to sit with the uncomfortable stuff,
Yeah, like, really feel it.
then you might miss some of those bigger truths.
That's true. It's true. Okay, ready for a slightly lighter one?
Hit me.
Feeling like an adult.
Okay.
It's actually linked to better mental health. Did you know that?
I can kind of see that, actually. Like when you feel like you're in control of things.
Right, like you're the captain of your own ship.
Exactly. Makes sense it'd be good for you mentally.
All right, last one for this rapid fire round, and this one's for all the online daters. Apparently, those subtle photo filters,
Ooh, yeah, everyone's using those now.
they actually work. Like, people find you more attractive.
No way, really. I always wonder if those are...
But
Okay.
if you go too far with the touch-ups, it backfires.
So, like, don't go full on,
Don't catfish people.
Exactly. Gotta keep it real.
Be authentic, that's what they say. Right.
For sure. And on that note of authenticity, I think we've had a pretty authentic deep dive today, wouldn't you say?
Right. From dolphins smiling to, like, the weight of history.
It's a lot, but it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. And, I'm always amazed by how much we can learn from just, like, a handful of Reddit posts.
Me too, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
these weren't the big psychology headlines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is stuff that I just, like, stumbled across.
But it makes you think.
It does. And that's what I hope people listening, like, that's what they get out of this too,
Absolutely. And not just thinking, but like, looking at their own lives.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Seeing those connections to the research, the things we talked about.
Because this stuff is happening all around us, It's
Yeah.
not just in a lab somewhere.
It's like psychology is like the air we breathe. It's everywhere.
And if you can understand even a little bit of it,
Right.
it helps you make sense of the world.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think we'll let everyone go ponder all this.
Yes, go forth and be introspective, everyone.
Until next time, keep those brains engaged.
And we'll be back soon with another deep dive.